Okay, everyone, welcome back to episode 3 of Fallout 76. So I am recording this, much like many of my other episodes, right after the last one. So last episode, feel free to go back and watch it if you haven't watched it yet. Just as a quick recap, we came from the lumber mill. Can't remember what the name is. We explored a farmhouse. We found the overseer's camp along the way. She had directed us towards Flatwoods, and that is where we are now at. We are in Flatwoods. We found the responders outpost. The overseer is not here though. However, she has told us to register as a volunteer, and we did get some background on who the responders are. So just again as a recap, the responders were a group of people who came together after the bombs dropped to help others out, and they were typically policemen, firemen, just volunteers in general who were willing to band together to help kind of restructure the world that was destroyed. And so now we need to register as one. So let us head over here and do it. We also did some exploration through here. We went through a decent amount of survivor stories, I believe they were called. So if you're interested in listening to some of those, feel free to go back to the last episode like I had mentioned. So we're going to go right on in here to this diner. And we had explored this a little bit before. I went around and I looked at a lot of these corpses, so I already knew what we were getting ourselves into. There are some different notes and reading materials throughout here. Here's another holotape of Who Goes There, Part 1. We also listened to this in the last episode, so feel free to go back and listen to that one. And I will definitely continue playing those once we find Part 2 to that. We also have, some other just reading materials and a computer and everything like that throughout this kitchen here. So there's a lot to read. Oh, look at, they even have some checks up there as well. Never noticed those before. So let's take a look through here. So this is where we have to come. We just have to do a self-serve register. Go to the self-serve registration kiosk. It's a mouthful. All right, let's see what we have to do for this. All right, welcome Survivor. This program was developed to turn regular survivors into certified responder volunteers. As a volunteer, your job is to help others. Simple. And our job as responders is to help everybody, including you. All right, volunteers register here. Let us register. Okay, we unlocked a new photo mode as well from that. Welcome volunteer. Transferring course to your external hardware. Done. Report to responder Kesha McDermott for further instructions. Okay. And it looks like, because most of these people are dead anyway, we need to figure out where her last location was. So as in the upper right, you can see our mission has now been updated. Our main mission has now been updated. We have locate Kesha McDermott and an optional mission, which is to search for her location in the system. So coming into the system here, we have a people directory. We're going to go into here and search for Kesha. So she was a responder, technically a researcher was her job, in hydrology and education. So she last checked in 10/25/96, and her last location was the Flatwoods River on 3 Church Road. That's where her housing assignment was. Notes: monitoring water safety protocols in Flatwoods and conducting ongoing hydrology experiments. So she was testing the water out. So let's get out of this. We kind of know a direction on where we want to go. And we've completed our first, or we completed another quest, First Contact. And we do get some rewards for that. So we got a paramedic jumpsuit, a recipe, and a whole slew of other goodies. And now we are on the quest of Thirst Things First. So basically we are going to become a volunteer responder by following a certain a certain set of trials that we have to complete. And the first one happens to be with Kesha. Who am I thinking of? So it looks like she is over here somewhere. And no big surprise, she is dead.
Automated warning to all responders. The Mr. Farmhands are out of control. Evacuate civilians and take down those supervisors. Once they're dealt with, you'll have to reboot the server. Again.
So that is another thing in Fallout 76, and I'll open up the map so we can take a look at this. So when you get to certain areas, they will have world events, I guess you could say, that go on, and you typically are just automatically thrown into them, and they'll pop up like how that one popped up. I just happened to get close enough to it. And so for this one, it happens to be taking out farmhand supervisors, and then we have to reboot the server. And so it shows it over here, these ones here, and it showed it as a new event up here, event fertile soil. And so you can do these. However, since we're such a low level, I'm not going to. And just to make things look a little bit clearer, or more clean, I should say. Let me take a sip of water here because I'm struggling over my words. There we go, much better. So, if we go into data where our quests are, we have our main story, we have the side missions, daily events, and then we also have just normal events. And that's this one right here. Alright guys, it looks like they're mowing outside my apartment right now, so I will be right back. Alright guys, I'm sorry about that. They decided to mow right outside my apartment. So yeah, I live in an apartment complex and I'm like partially sub-level. So probably like 4 feet is below ground. So my windows are at like grass level when I look out them, if that makes any sense. And so they're mowing outside and they came around right outside my window mowing, and so it was right there. So it got kind of loud there. They're still out there, but they're kind of far away now, so hopefully we can continue without any interruptions from that. If we do, I'll just cut away again so we don't blast you with lawnmower sound. But what I was getting at before is these events that come up, you don't have to participate in them, and if you don't want them on your screen, you can untrack them. So you just click on them here, and the little box goes away there, it untracks it, and it untracks up there as well. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to do. So let's find we got Kesha here. She surprisingly did not make it. As I mentioned before, every NPC that would be in this game, any human NPC in this game, is dead. Big spoiler alert, but again, the game's been out for quite some time now, so most everyone knows that. And so no surprise that she is not alive. So let's grab this water testing kit. We need that. We have her survivor story and some other goodies.
To document our stories for posterity, you know. It seems like a fine idea. So, hi, I am Kesha McDermott. When the bombs fell, I was in Watoga, coordinating a statewide science fair for that year's high school kids. And the theme was the future of energy. After the bombs, everything was pretty chaotic. Scavenging for food and fighting off rabid survivors. Oh, it was just a bad time all around. I found a couple of surviving kids from the high school whose parents didn't make it. And we holed up in a house in town for a while. After a bit, I was able to solder the circuitry in an old radio, and we tuned in to a broadcast from the responders. Oh, we were overjoyed. The trip from Watoga to Flatwoods, it was rough, mind you. The kids and I ran into a group of assholes in the mountains who stole our food and water. I can't tell you how happy I was to find the responders in Flatwoods. Tents for everyone, open kitchens, medical supplies, protection. We were safe. They had a problem, though. Their water sources were contaminated heavily. People were boiling water, but not long enough to make it safe. So, I stepped up and I said, I'll build a testing kit to monitor the contamination, and I will teach folks how to properly boil water. And I did. The world is getting better, but slowly. We need to make sure it doesn't relapse, too. It's going to take time and care, that's all. Well, time, care, and science.
Alright, so we picked up the testing kit. We tested the water there. All we had to do was collect a sample. It doesn't say collect it for testing, it just says collect it. So if you are doing it on your own, just know that you have to just collect some dirty water there. The next step is to test a sample from the water pumps here in Flatwoods. We're gonna head that way, but I've been kind of just stopping at different places along the way as that was playing. And right here we have Scott Shepard, and he has Scott's reminders, and we're gonna take a read through this. Remember, set up a trap for the you-know-whos and use holotapes to try to record their noises at night. Get a lock for the secret stash by the Brahmin tubs behind the house. Get a bigger gun, or more guns, or both. Try to tame a wild dog or giant rat. Rip Perry, you sweet something something something. Okay, so it says there's a stash out back. There's also Who Goes There Part 2. So this is the radio opera that we were listening to before. This is part 2 of it. Let's hit it.
Tonight, we bring you the final chapter of Who Goes There? The Strange Encounter in Flatwoods. In the last episode, Pioneer Scout Fred Fisher met a curious girl named Sally while hiding in the dark. But, as it turned out, they weren't alone.
There are other people here?
Yeah, they probably just went to get more food. They'll be back soon enough. You can wait with me, and they'll give you food too. You just have to do what they want.
What do you mean?
When they want to play games with you.
Games? What kind of games?
I'm still learning the rules. Mostly, they're kind of boring, and only hurt when they use the needles.
Needles?
Yeah, you know, like at the doctor.
This doesn't sound like any game I know. It sounds downright awful, and these people sound really bad. We have to get out of here.
No, stay put, stay put, stay put, stay put.
Okay, stop screaming. The light. It's so bright.
That's where they come in to bring food, or when it's time to play.
Sally, what's that helmet thing you're wearing? It looks like it's screwed into your head.
Time to play. Time to play.
Sally,
Time
what's wrong?
to
Why are you acting like that?
Time to play.
I see them now.
Time to
They aren't human at all.
time to
No! Stop! Let me go! Sally, help me! I don't want to play! I don't want to play any games! No!
Fred Fisher was found days later, wandering by the river outside Flatwoods. He was disoriented, but unharmed, save for 2 small wounds on each temple. To this day, Fred is convinced his strange encounter was real, and even continues to search high and low for a missing girl named Sally, whom he swears he met. So I leave it to you to decide, dear listeners. Was this simply the wild imagination of a bright Was Fred Fisher in fact abducted by brainwashing aliens from outer space? Be sure to tune in next week for another thrilling chapter of Tales from the West Virginia Hills.
Oof, what do you guys think? Was it aliens? Leave a comment down below if you think it was the aliens. Alright, we have another survivor story here. Let's play this. Nurse Scott. We also have another one up in the trailer over there. So let's do this one first, and then we're going to head up to the trailer, and we'll do that next.
Responder Dasu gave me some supplies in exchange for my survivor story. So, hi. My name is Scott Shepard. Things are going all right. I was a nurse before the war, and I guess nothing much has changed. I just work for the responders now, and I don't get paid. The government is basically the same now as it was years ago. Wrecked. Disorganized. Cannot be trusted. Everyone knows this. You want to know why the war actually happened? Aliens. You think I'm joking? Listen. Now, right before everything went to hell, I saw them. I was grilling hamburgers out in the yard with my dog, and I heard rustling from the bushes and a zapping noise. Next thing I know, I'm lightheaded, and I felt myself falling to the ground. And I didn't even have a lot to drink. I woke up, and I saw some little thing run into the bushes with my dog following it. And I knew something was wrong. I found my dog later with a clump of green skin in his mouth. Green, like moss or something. The bombs fell almost 10 days later. 9 days, 19 hours to be exact. That's 235 hours precisely. You know what that is, right? That's right. The atomic number of the fissile-isotope of uranium. They had a plan from the very beginning. Why would they come after me first? Scott Shepard, the nurse. Well, good question. I'm glad you asked. They have our blood. They knew which ones of us would survive. This is one big experiment to them. This whole thing was staged. Our lives, our thoughts, everything was designed for us. Just like this conversation. Every word I'm saying. Planned. Time to wake up, Appalachia. Find the ones holding the strings and cut the cords.
Alright. Well, that guy's convinced it's aliens, so I think we should think it's aliens as well. I have found so many survivor stories. I have 3 more that we can run through just so far, and I'm sure there's probably more. There's got to be some more. So let's go back over to this trailer over here where we found another survivor story that we want to take a listen to. It was down here. It was Reverend Dilbert Winters. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Reverend Dilbert Winters here, born and raised in this very town. Lit my own church to the responders for their outpost here, and you're welcome. The responders are on a true mission, you see, helping folks through thick and thin, till the heavens open up again and take us all up anyways. When this all happened, I figured like most it was time. This was the end, but it wasn't, was it? We're still here. At first, I thought it was a mistake, that we was missed, forgotten. Maybe we did some wrongs. Didn't give enough to charity, maybe. Didn't praise his name, even in the worst of times. Maybe thought some things that ought not to been thought. So I asked him. I asked how. Why? I fought your wars on Earth. I'm ready to fight them up there by your side. Then, in my despair, I saw some survivors eating raw rat carcass behind a dumpster. Gotta cook that first, I warned them. Seemed obvious. We tried but got sick, they said, covered in their own filth. I realized right then and there that I was being tasked. From then on, I built kitchens, cooked good food, fed anyone who walked up with an empty belly. And I was thankful for my task in life. Thankful. Next time hell or high water land at my stoop, I'll be swept clear away with it. But until then, let's share a home-cooked meal together, all right?
Dang, so this guy felt like he was being tested, and he had to make food for survivors. And so that's what we're going to find, I believe, in here. So let's run back in. I was just doing a little exploration while that was running, and we have his terminal here. Alright, volunteer training. Let's take a read through this. Dilbert wants every volunteer to cook one meal for today's potluck. Today's menu is Survivor's Basic Ribeye Steak. Instructions: get some meat from one of the local cows, toss it in the fire until it stops oozing. Ooh, that sounds kind of gross. I think we'll actually come back to this. I think it's the next part on the training. So we'll just keep it in mind. Comfort food cookbook. New comfort food cookbook recipes detected. Updating database. Okay. Maybe that unlocked some cookbook stuff for us. Potluck schedule. Schedule. Ribeye. I guess ribeye is pretty popular. Past favorites. Ribeye steak. Oh, that is a surprise. And then finally we have Dilbert's diary. Ooh, there's a lot of entries here. Okay, I think this is the start of it. So I need to write down my thoughts because I was losing faith. I'm ashamed to admit it. I witnessed the wrath with my own eyes. The brightest of lights filled the sky, and I thought he had come for me and those of the faith. But we remain. Why? Either he did not come, or we were not good enough. I pray every moment I can. Nothing. I hear nothing. I used to hear something, I think. Did I? It's hard to remember so long ago. Alright, the responders. This past month I've struggled. I've cooked a lot though. You know, it helps keep me calm to cook. Ingredients are so simple. Mix this and that, and you got yourself a food. Life, not so much. And beyond, I don't know. I thought I did. The responders set up a camp in town. They're a bunch of medical and firefighter types, and they plan to fix up survivors. I'm volunteering. This is something I know I can do. Alright, nightmares. Devoting myself to cooking for these survivors and running the book club and the nightly survivors guilt meetings has been good for me. But I still come home at night and I think, why? I was ready. I was ready my whole life for this. What did I do wrong? Weird cows. It makes me glad to see the responders are taking in the survivors so well. We need them. Lord knows. We need to rebuild this land. I have been noticing a weird thing. Some of the animals are born different. At first, I thought it was just a random fluke. Two-headed cow. Should go to the Museum of Fakery, but then it happened again. And again. He doesn't make mistakes like this. The flood. Weird cows are born more often than not, and I don't know what to say. Plants are weird too. Plants are merging, changing colors, and I don't know what. Maybe this is the recreation of our world, like after the flood. If so, that we survivors had no ark, no protection. I stayed up all night cooking stew and corn pone for everyone here. There's a lot of us now. A lot of us aren't doing so good. Some have lost faith in the responders and ran to the mountains to join gangs. I pray for them. I pray for all of us, mind you. Experiments. The weird cows continue to be weird. I heard someone who arrived from over east of here call them Brahmin. I can't remember what regular cow tastes like anymore, or regular tomatoes for that matter. I've set up an experiment to monitor these things. I'm worried. What if the meat and vegetables here
Automated
are
message.
hurting
The
us?
Forest Watch detects all supervisors down. Good job. Responder team, proceed to the Ag Center and get to the mainframe. You need to reset the farmhand targeting parameters. That should keep our people safe in the area. Be careful.
So, since we're in close proximity to that, it still updated us, even though someone else was completing the event. So where were we? I've set up an experiment to monitor these things. I'm worried. What if the meat and vegetables here are hurting us? I need to keep track of this to know for sure. In the meantime, I think old prepackaged food is probably okay. Gangs. Bunch of old survivors came down to town from the mountains. They're in a gang now. They wanted stuff. They tore up my gardens and killed some cows. I'm going to start putting some extra food in the pantry just in case. And I need to remember they have a tough time up there. There can't be much to eat in the mountains. Dude's super polite. Our future. I brought all the weird cows down from the nearby farms and let them loose in the pastures. I think they'll stay by because I planted a bunch of good hay grass there. In a couple of months, I'll build some gardens near the houses and I'll set up some control groups of plants. He didn't take us, so I need to make sure I'm ready for when he returns. This has to be a just trial. I have to do better. I need to make sure everyone here eats well and survives until the end. Apology. I've sunken my entire life lately into these experiments and feeding these survivors. I've asked him if this is enough, if he will come for me now. Silence. Is this punishment? I was in the war. I killed. I know I did these things. But I had to. They made me do it. I thought it was the right thing to do. How can I apologize now? At peace. Just finished planting the community garden for next year. Figure I'll spend some time in the garden patches behind my house for a bit. It brings me peace to work the land like this, planting some seeds. Gonna see what in the boot they turn out to be. Don't look like any kind of seeds I know. Bless his creativity, right? Dang, this guy had a lot of stuff going on. It says we did complete that event even though we didn't actually do anything for it. We just kind of stayed in the area long enough for it to be completed. Oh, and we did get some items from it actually, and some experience. Cool. Well, let's take a look. We did get a sturdy leather right leg. Let's equip that. Wow, so that guy, he was struggling along, but he was figuring things out. So let's go up here. We had another one up somewhere over here, I thought. Maybe it's on the next stoop. Yeah, it is. Miguel Caldera.
Hello, person in the distant future. Dasu told us these tapes would be used as historical records someday. Pretty nifty. So, my name is Miguel Caldera. Let's see, my story begins in an office. I used to be a programmer at Vault Tech. One of many. Nobody special, you see. And, and that's okay. I used to stare out that window by the coffee machine and think, shucks, I wish I could leave this job and hike in the woods every day. I dream about walking the Appalachian Trail, setting up camp wherever I liked, and traveling with close friends. Dreams kept me going. And, well, the bombs fell. I was terrified, just like anybody else. I wasn't in a vault, so I just figure it all out too. The responders found me. I had a little campsite, some supplies. I hacked the Protectron to guard me while I slept, but I miss people. I did. It's been alright, you know? The apocalypse and all. I know that seems weird, but I have freedom now. I can actually help people. I even met somebody. A volunteer who delivers supplies. Imagine that, right? Even when you think everything is over, it's not. It goes on. I mean, it's awful too. You know, don't get me wrong. All the people dead and hurt. But those are things beyond my control. So, you know, I'm making the best of it. These days, I'm important. People treat me like I matter because, well, there's so few of us. You know, we can't afford to think otherwise. So for all you future people, just know that we lived through something horrible. But we did it. Somehow, we're alive. And if you're hearing this, then, well, I guess at least some of us made it, right? So hey, chin up, kiddo. You'll be okay. Okay?
Alright. That guy kind of sounds familiar. I'll have to see once we progress a little farther into the story itself if he shows up again, because his situation sounds similar to another situation you find down the line, but that'll come in a later episode. So we do have another survivor story over in the diner. However, I was exploring around and I found this, The Last Will and Testament of Jeremiah Ward. So let's take a read through this. Will and Testament. I, Jeremiah Ward, resident in the town of Flatwoods, county of not sure, being of sound mind and not acting under duress, mostly, hereby declare this letter to be my last will and testament. Maya gets the house and everything in it. It ain't much, but that's all I got to give, and she's all I got. I know she's still alive. The responders say the dogs got her, but I know it ain't true. They've been real good to us. Teaching an old geezer like me how to really cook is something. I'll give them that. But I know they lying about those dogs. I seen them in the hills. There's some bad folks scoping us out. They took my granddaughter. I just know it. I'll get you back, Maya. Mia? Maybe it's Mia. I promise. Okay. Last will and testament. He wants to get his granddaughter back. I don't blame the guy. Alright, let's go back to the diner and let's take a look at this last survivor story that we found. Oh, what was it, Tabitha? I accidentally hit the wrong button. There we go.
Just talking to this? Oh, yeah, am I loud enough? Okay. Hi. What do you want me to say exactly? Yeah, so just talk about how you got here and maybe
There's a
little
long
bit about your
delay.
life. This is a historic document. Go ahead, Tabitha. Okay, so, well, thanks. Okay. I've been sober for 9 days. I got here 9 days ago. My name is Tabitha. And this is my story. I just found out about everything. The war, the bombs,
I just realized this was, really happening. For years, I thought the chems were playing tricks with my mind, hurting my brain. I thought it was the worst trip ever. Every time I'd come out of my haze long enough to look for food, I'd find more chems and, well, they kept going. And I kept seeing madness. Look, I would have been wandering around fighting giant rats and eating garbage if not for the responders. They're good folks. That doc in the church, got me some meds that are helping out a lot. And they have group therapy meetings, and it's good. It's good. I think it's. But listen, you should avoid the mountains. They'll just get you mixed up, get you doing things you don't want to do. Hurting people mostly. And there are so many chems up there. I spent too long there, and I hurt people. I couldn't think right. I couldn't.
Oh, it's okay, Tabitha. Remember what we said in the group? Take your Addictol and rest, and things will be okay soon. It's okay. We're here for you.
Yeah, I'm taking it. When I feel better, I'm going out west, though. Getting out of this place. Getting out, getting away from the chems, all of this. I feel better every day, but, you know, years of chems, years of rads, years of sleeping in the muck. It adds up. Yeah. I'm gonna get back to sleep now, okay?
Okay. Thanks for sharing your story, Tabitha. Get some sleep. You'll be okay. You're safe now.
Okay, dang. So those who went up into the mountains who went into the gangs, like the Reverend was saying, they got addicted to chems real bad, it seems like. So it seems like she came back down from there and had a hard time leaning off of the chems. So I got the other water sample that we needed. We now need to go and test these at Kesha's lab. However, I also found this. I hate Flatwood, so we're gonna play this.
Well, my back hurts. Sick of eating varmints with 2 pair of eyes. Yeah, I tell them I seen a big old boomer out yonder. They tell me, what's a boomer then? Then some sweet young thing come up to me asking for help with that garden next door. And then, just this morning, I heard talk of crawdads big as a barn door across the mountains and worse. Flatwoods had better days. Now everything cattywampus or it'll kill you. Now, I ain't no cussing lady. But damn if God had just let a bomb fall on my head. Jesus, just let me die.
Wow, that lady did not like being here. Alright, so we do actually have a walking cane. And we have a walking cane mod. So let's take a look here. Let's see if we can put them together. Yep, the barbed walking cane. Let's just do an attachment here. There we go. Let's get out of there. Go over to weapons. This is 18. This does 23. Take a look, see here, see how it is. It looks pretty cool. Alright, so we went through most everything. The next step is to test the water in here. So let's go in here, we'll test out the water.
Volunteer boiled water is necessary for equipment sterilization. Please assist.
Alright. We have play holotape, archives. Let's play the holotape.
This is my first interview with another survivor, Kesha McDermott. She found me trying to break into a Nuka-Cola machine and showed me a different way. So, Kesha, can you tell us a bit about how we can make sure our water is safe for drinking? Try to keep it to the basics for training purposes.
Oh, it's not complicated, really. Find water and strain out any big particles and chunks. Then, boil it in a pot over an open fire for a minute or two, then let it cool. Should be fine. Like making tea, right?
Uh-huh. You joined the responders a while ago and helped develop a program to train volunteers. So, were you a survivalist prior to all of this?
You could say that. I taught high school kids. I used to talk about this very thing to them. Practical application of the sciences. It's fascinating, but you never realize how important some things will be down the road, do you?
I guess not. So if we were students of yours, what would you tell us about the world now? How can we survive?
That's a good question, Dasu. Well, I would tell you all to remain calm and focus on surviving. The first thing you need to do is get yourself some clean drinking water. It's likely all you'll find is dirty water, but that's okay. We can fix it. Dirty water carries a small chance of disease, and it's a bit radioactive. You'll probably survive if you drink it, but you shouldn't take that risk. It's better than toxic water or nuclear waste, though, which are both very harmful and should be boiled thoroughly first. Got that, Dasu?
Yes'm. Contaminated water should be
Yes'm.
boiled. Okay, that sounds easy enough. So, boiled water is safe?
It's mostly safe, but still a bit radioactive. What you really want is purified water.
Oh, purified water. Okay, how do I get that?
You can build machines that will do it for you, and that's the most reliable way. Building them requires some space and time and plenty of materials. But on my way up here from Watoga, I found purified water occasionally in supply caches and medical kits. So, keep your eyes peeled.
If I boil water, and that's mostly safe, aside from a teensy bit of radiation, what about tea? Most folks around here are tea drinkers, as you know. I recall many a night sipping tea on the stoop, watching lightning bugs, and reading a book in peace and quiet. Tell me that's still okay, Kesha?
Oh, bless your heart. It's probably as good as boiled water anyway. Maybe even better if you add anything medicinal to it.
Oh.
Some survivors add all sorts of flowers and herbs to boiled water, and they swear by it. Personally, I stick with purified water. To each their own.
Okay, got it. Switching tracks a bit. I know you're awfully busy with your latest research in Flatwoods. Can you explain that a bit?
Of course! I'm testing local, natural water over time in Appalachia. gathering data, monitoring the radiation and contamination levels, all of that. I analyze the data in my lab to look for long-term trends and use those trends to determine how we can use the water right now. We use the water for more than just drinking, you know. It feeds our plants, which feed our animals, so we need to know how things are changing.
You got a lot of work cut out for you. I'm glad you joined the responders. That data sounds invaluable.
It is. I've integrated the data collection and research into the Responders Survivors Volunteer Program as well. I am still a teacher, after all.
Wow. Then there you have it, folks. Thanks for talking with us today, Kesha. And thanks for showing us all how to live a little safer.
Class dismissed.
Alright, interesting. I didn't know if I could back out and it continue to play. So I just decided that we would sit it through. So, but the next part that we need to do is boil some water. Well, as you can see, the map is huge, so I was just curious if someone had launched some nukes or some stuff like that. So let's hop out of here and let's boil some water here. Easy enough. Let's get out of that. Exit. And now we need to check in with the self-service kiosk for the next training. Check volunteer status. We did level up, level 4. We got some perk cards. Sending data to responder Kesha's terminal for additional analysis. Done. Updating volunteer status with responders database. Done. You must complete one more experiment for the responders to become a full volunteer. Transferring course to your external hardware. Done. Report to responders Dilbert Winters for further instructions. So this is the guy we found in that trailer over there. Let's see. Yep, in his home. Alright, we finished that. First things first, completed. We got a new plan, 2 new plans, and some more goodies. And we did level up, level 4, and now we are on to second helpings. And in this one, we're definitely going to be making some food. So let's really quickly take a look at our level. We do get perk packs every couple of levels. And basically, you open these and they'll give you a whole slew of new perk cards that you can apply. So let's open it. Got Born Survivor, Hard Bargain. Oh, look it. It's a good thing that we didn't get that because now we got it out of the perk pack. So let's see what we want to do now. Perception, maybe? Endurance. This is a good one to have, Lone Wanderer, because we are going to be mainly doing this alone. So you get 10% less damage and you gain 10% AP regen. So that'll be good to have. So let's do this one for sure. Actually, hang on. Let's take a look at intelligence. See what we have over here. Hacker. We do have hacker now. That is a good card to have. Yeah, let's do the Lone Wanderer one. Actually, endurance. Let me see this again. I'm gonna do hacker actually. Now some of them that you'll get, you have to be a certain level to equip them. Like this one we have to be level 7. We have enough points where we could put it in there, but we don't have to right now. We do have an additional strength point, so I'm going to put traveling pharmacy on there. We have an endurance point that's not used, so I'm going to put this one on here. I'm going to put hacker on intelligence, and yeah, I'll put I'll hold off on that one. So let's back out of that. But yeah, like I said, guys, we are going to call it an episode there. When we come back in the next episode, we will continue on the path in Flatwoods here, doing the Responder's second volunteer mission, which is finding Dilbert Winters, which we've already found him. So we're just going to go over there, we'll do that, and we'll proceed with that in the next episode. But I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like down below, or better yet, leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. If you will follow along with this series, feel free to hit the subscribe button and that bell notification. It'll let you know every single time I post a new episode to the channel, be it Fallout, Borderlands, or maybe Control. But other than that, guys, thanks for sticking through to the end of this episode. I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks.